Hello and welcome to Benz Addiction. Recently, I found out that my indicator stalk doesn't stay on low position or the left hand turn position. So I have to go ahead and replace it. I should mention a very important point over here before we go ahead to the video. If you want to buy one of these indicator stocks, this is the original one. See how flat and flush is the connector, the 5-pin connector with the body? And look at this, the one I bought. Look, it's like 8 millimeter above and it doesn't fit. So if you want to buy one of these, make sure you buy the correct one from eBay or wherever you want to buy. Okay, here is what I mean. It stays up, but it doesn't stay in the low or left hand side position. And I think this is a very typical issue. So let's replace this stock and fix the final issue on this CLK 500 W209. But this process can be applied to most Mercedes make, models, and years, like W211, W203, W220, W221, and even W164. Before we start, one important safety hazard. We are going to take off the airbag. So we really need to disconnect the negative battery terminal. But before you go ahead and disconnect your battery, make sure you move your steering wheel all the way toward yourself to make room behind it so you can remove the airbag screws. So all you need to do is here, using a T30 torque 30 socket like this, you're going to insert like 50 millimeter inside the steering from this access hole over here. As you can see, you only need 50 millimeter of extension, not a long one, to remove that screw. And I think it's only torqued to like 15 Newton meter, but I will check that and let you know at the end of the video. And then we do the same for the right hand side. And then you can easily remove the steering like that. Let's have a look. Underneath you have 3 connectors. You need to be careful here not to pull suddenly. So 2 airbag connectors. You need to pull out the lock which is in the center of those 2 connectors out. But the third connector that you can see over there for the steering wheel controls, that one does not have a lock. So let's take the lock from the 2 airbag connectors, the green and yellow. Okay, as you can see, the safety locks are out. All you need to do is wiggle with the connectors gently and take them out. Here are the 2 connectors. And as I said, for the third connector, the steering wheel controls, you don't have to release any locks. So the center bolt is a tough 10 millimeter Allen, and you need an extension and someone to hold the steering wheel. It's not recommended to use an impact gun. Okay, it's almost loose and I'm removing it. From this point, it's important to note that you shouldn't take the steering wheel out of its place before you really align it. You just want it really straight. However you want to mark it to make it straight, because as you can see, you can put this steering wheel in many positions, and someone before me has marked the steering wheel, as you can see over there. So that makes my job much easier. But if you don't have that marking on your steering column and steering wheel, please go ahead and make sure it's completely straight. Now all I need to do is pull out this steering wheel gently by letting this harness one by one out. Okay, before you go ahead and do anything over here, you need to note that this clock should not change its position when removing or installing back. It's important not to rotate this anytime, so best is to mark it and fix it with tape and do not mess with it. Also, you can see over there that arrow points to the center of the column, so that makes the job easier. In case you move the clock a few degrees, you can align it back easily. Okay, the next thing here is to remove 3 T10 3 screws from the clock spring, and there's one down there. So let's remove those using a T torque 10. Okay, after removal of the 25 torque 25 screw from the lower part, you need to push back those 4 clips inside there. Let me see if I can show you that. That holds the clock spring inside that groove. So we need to somehow release those 4 clips using a skinny flathead screwdriver, and then kinda push this back to release those clips. Okay, let's try 4 skinny screwdrivers in there holding the clips. Okay, the 4 screwdriver trick worked. Let's have a look inside this to see actually what we got. I also marked this clock spring over here so I don't lose its position. I know it's the top, and I have marked it so in case it rotates, that I'm not going to allow it, but I know what position it should be. And then from here, if you completely remove this screw from here, I mean all the way out, this should come out easily, like even with one hand. And there's nothing behind it because there is a connector over here that neatly sits on that connector over there. So basically from here we need to remove those 3 T20 I would say screws. Let's take them out and we can disassemble the indicator. And I have removed this plastic piece over here. You need to pull it away a little bit and pull it out at the same time. By the way, if you need a better view of that T25 screw, it's over here. It's like 40 mil away from the tip of the plastic. Okay, as soon as you remove those T10 screws, 3 of them, it will drop off. The thing is, it works one way and it doesn't work the other way. Okay, finally everything is back together in one piece. If you're wondering what is that blue duct tape over there, I had a feeling that plastic housing had a sharp edge, and it was cutting those 3 wires that going to the signal. So I'm talking about this situation over here. All 3 screws are screwed on, and these 3 plastics also, they're on. Don't forget that to swap out that screw that holds everything together from that clamp. I've got an update here. I was wrong. Actually, that long screw for the clamp, you need to take that off completely in order to put back everything. So that's what I've done, and it goes in with a nice click, and it won't wobble even before screwing on that long screw, T25 screw. And now we are ready to test everything before putting back all the accessories, making sure that everything works here, at least these 2 functions. But since we do not have the airbag here, it's safe to switch on the ignition. The only problem is you will get a SRS airbag fault that you need to clear it later on. Just quickly testing the indicator. So both working, which is good. And now I'm taking the battery terminal off. Again, as you can see, SRS indicator is on. I will have to reset the code later on. So you don't want to do this job twice, putting back this clock spring completely. First of all, you need to make sure all the screws are aligned with the hole. As you can see, it is. And then you want to check your marking. See, this piece is aligned with that piece. So one other point, you see there are 2 pieces of this long plastic over here. One is bigger, one is smaller. You see how there are 2 grooves, one smaller, one bigger. You need to align that as well. Very important. And when you finally put it back, everything should be aligned. The steering column and those plastics and all the lines should be aligned. Okay, finally we are screwing back those 3 screws, and you can breathe finally. Okay, after making sure that that screw is really tight and everything is not wobbly, of course don't touch that clock spring, but everything is not wobbly and intact, it's time to put back the steering wheel very slowly, gently, making sure that the battery terminal is off the battery. And of course you want to align this exactly same as the column. Okay, just like that, it's sitting exactly where it should. See, all the lines are matching and there's no wobble, nothing. It's ready to put back the bolt. Don't forget to put back the Loctite on this, because safety is first and this is super important to do. And we need to torque this down. Okay, the torque is 80 Newton meter, and you of course need 2% to do this. Okay, then it's time to put back the airbag socket. I need to mention one thing here. It's super important to put back these tabs, otherwise you will get a SRS light and it's visually and functionally and physically not correct. So yeah, and of course green for green and yellow for yellow. Okay, as I said, green for green, yellow for yellow, and don't forget the steering wheel controls, harness and connector. And finally it's time to tighten these. It's torqued down and finally done. The project is complete. Let's test again, and you're good to go. Okay, I know we got the problem with SRS, but let's ignore that for a second and enjoy my left hand side indicator without a hand. So it's working, it's good. Now let's go ahead and reset the SRS. Okay, using the star diagnostic, and as you can see, default is only stored and not current. So what we can do, quickly erase it by pressing F9. And then switch off ignition, switch on ignition, and read the fault codes again. No fault code present. At the same time, it's gone. So enjoy your Mercedes. Thanks so much for watching, liking, subscribing. I have a lot of contents on W209, W164 and R129. Have a good day.
Let's go.